Good morning. So it is the 23rd of June, and we have just seen a massive gap get closed on the NASDAQ. So I'm just going to talk through my top-down analysis before we get into what we're going to do today. Here on the hourly chart, as you can see, the war has instigated a massive repricing. We opened all the way down here, took out all of that sell side liquidity, and since overnight, since last night, we've continued on up higher. It was really pleasing to see that I had this line marked out as a potential draw, and it hit there at 4 o'clock this morning. Obviously, this is our new week opening gap. We closed this one from last week in one full swoop, and then we've seen a rejection here. So we're looking to see, we have high impact news today at 9:45, so in about 40 minutes, so we'll see what happens then. But as it stands at this moment, we have put up higher, we've reached this gap here, so this is, I'm actually expecting, I was expecting us to reach that. This would be my turning point to continue down lower. So I was still looking at a bullish move for me, but I could be wrong. I'm also very conscious of this low here, or this would be a high, low, higher high. Let me just move that across. So we had a high, low, lower high. So this would be your mitigation block, I guess. I notice how this mitigation blocks line up with all of these other SIBIs and so forth. So this is again another important level. So I'm thinking I would like us to close below. At the minute we're finding support in here, in this area so far. So essentially what happens at 9:45 will determine what we're going to do for the rest of the day, whether if 9:45 manipulates, or if we've already seen this is the manipulation, this is the pullback to continue up higher. Again, we're seeing support here. This is our low. We broke through. So we could be heading up here, to be honest with you. Obviously we've got this daily SMT at the minute. So let me just drop down into, let's say, the 5-minute chart and see what's happened so far in the cycles. So Asia obviously expanded. We've taken the Asia high. We've got this rejection here. We've got another rejection here. So this is all looking, so this is back into a buy program. We've got some, let me just make this a bit bigger. Got some SMT here. So we're kind of consolidating in this range. So let's see what happens. 8:30 open was here. Midnight is here. So currently price is above. So we shall see what happens come 9:30 in about 4 minutes. .30, and we can see that we have had a nice injection of volatility, and we're dropping towards the midnight open. So we'll see what happens come 9:45, if this is if this is a manipulation or distribution. or manipulation, and 9:45 distributes. So we'll see I've marked up this low here because obviously this was the low that turned. I'm thinking if this is a reversal, we're interested in that midnight opened at exactly 21,550. So I would be looking to see this be a reversal here, support here. Here we go. I mean, I am looking for lower prices, to be honest, or I'd have preferred it to go upwards to then come back down. But we'll see if this is our reversal. Let's just drop below, see these imbalances here. I'm gonna buy, really. I'm waiting till 9:45 though. Waiting for whatever to play out, and then maybe target the previous month's high. That's a big rejection. Back up to here. A minute. SMT at the top. We've got SMT on both sides. 10-minute SMT here, 3-minute here, 90-minute SMT. I would like to see this just drop down one more time before 9:45. So yeah, so that was the end of the kind of live recording. So now I'll just talk you through what I was doing. So yeah, I was waiting for the 9:45 macro to begin, and as you can see, we had a run up higher from 9:30 to 9:45, which is a very valid buy in itself, actually, to be quite honest with you, that manipulation leg. And if you've seen the entire price action for the day, you would see how price continued up higher. But anyhow, so waiting for the 9:45 macro, it was moving quite slowly to kind of begin with, but just looking to see where the previous kind of the previous cycle's high was, and waiting for that break and retest of the previous cycle high. But as price moves along slowly, here we see that we break it. So I was just looking for the retest before going in, dropping down to the 15-second, and here we go, I jump in right there and then set my stop loss and my take profit at the beginning of that wick of that candle that has been marked up. Jump in again here, pyramiding in as it pulls back, and I'm thinking, good, we're heading all the way up. Whilst there's some SMT that becomes present, but it's, short-lived, so to speak. But you kind of just take heed and manage your trade effectively. I noticed this kind of volume imbalance there on the 5-minute, and look to see that price could potentially come back down there. As you approach the 10 o'clock, hoping that 10 o'clock opens low and then continues up higher as a whole. I am also conscious of those two imbalances from 9:30. So I'm thinking, is that that breakaway gap, or is that imbalanced price range? And price could kind of return there as a whole. Here you can see on the 5-minute chart, price is continuing up higher, which is good. We've taken the London high. That would have been the first target if I had jumped in at 9:30, or should I say just after 9:30, in that first pullback. But I was waiting for price to get to my TP. And one of the things that I didn't see it this morning, and it's the thing, you've got to remember absolutely everything, and I didn't look to see where price stopped. I just mark out these imbalances that I'm seeing. I want to see price, punch through them, which they do. So I'm thinking, we're good to go. We get up to the 75, we pull back slightly. Notice how I moved my stop loss below that first imbalance. We see the SMT, and as I say, I want to see support here for that continuation higher, so that's where I put my stop loss. And then, this is the thing, I'll be honest with you, I lost sight of where price actually stopped, because technically I probably should have just closed it here, or even because I'm looking at this, well, where's price reaching for, and I'm thinking, it's going. We reach the next one, I see the high that is taken, we've got a fair value gap, so I want to see that act as support. We're approaching the 21,800 level. I'm at 804 is my TP, my first TP, and we stopped shy. Notice that? And we start to come down. So that was my level. I was like, okay, that's the other high there, the intermediate high. And I'm thinking this should stop right there. I don't want it to see it go any lower than that. But I'm hanging on. I'm being cautious, but not cautious, or being greedy, let's say, because I want it to hit my TP, because quite often, if you saw from some of my previous trades, I would just pull out early and be done with it. But today I said, no, let's hold on. I wanted to hold on till 11 o'clock, because I noticed that 11 is where you see a lot of higher the days, for example, particularly if you're going from at 9:30 straight up. But this was it. I just left it. I said, no, we're leaving it. We've already 10:15. If you notice, that was the high, so that would have been your 9:45 to 10:15 macro done. And you can see that we've started to drop below, and this is our time distortion. And as you'll see in a few seconds, it does suddenly, well, not suddenly, it does hit my stop loss. And that's it, really, and I should be happy with where I was. But one of the things I didn't look at is where price stopped on that high, and that's really quite critical for the remainder of the session, because you would have saw that the news of the bombing of the US base in Qatar occurred, and that's when we saw a massive drop or retracement all the way back down to take that dip at the 9:30, the low of the morning session, and then we repriced right back to my original take profit. So it's a little bit frustrating, and I did actually watch all of it occur. I tried and failed a couple of more little trades in there, but ultimately I got my head twisted, and I should have looked at that. So that would have been the point to get out, to be honest with you. Saw that rejection block, and that should have been it. I should have just jumped out then. You see that, but I did see this SMT at the bottom, so I figured, yeah, we're going to make it. We're going to keep going up higher, but, note to self, if ever you come close to your TP and it's at the 0 mark or a key price level, and it pulls back just before it, that's a big warning sign that other things could be occurring. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't check to see the news. I didn't see the updates in the platform, and I hadn't heard the news. So you see there, that's where it got taken. So as you can see, this is what happened in the end for the day. This is where my stop loss got hit, and I tried to jump in again here and here, and then I jumped out manually because I was just like, no, we're going in the wrong direction. Wasn't too sure, and obviously this is when the news broke. We saw this drop lower down here. I tried to buy here and then came out. And again, you see, we just swept this liquidity. These imbalances here got cleaned up, and we swept this liquidity and reversed. And I saw all of this and watched all of this happening live, but I didn't react to the certain things that were quite clear. So if you look at this range, this was 75% of the range. It's also a 21,600. You can see the gaps through here. I did jump in again here, and I wrote it up just up to here because I figured that was where we were going, and we were going to continue back lower. I wasn't sure, I wasn't confident enough. And as you can see, we went all the way to my original take profit, which was at the consequent encroachment of that wick from, I'll just go to the 1 hour so you can see what I'm referring to. Consequent encroachment of that wick, that was my original consolidation, my original idea. And as you can see now that Asia has opened and we've got a massive jump. I just can't understand it. I thought the war was supposed to bring uncertainty and we would head south and everybody would sell, but as you can see, we have repriced across the above the previous high. I mean, look at that, from Sunday evening all the way up to here, all in one day, which is really quite phenomenal. So it just shows what can happen, but you just got to remember absolutely everything. And that's all I can say. So it should be an interesting week ahead to come. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments. Let me know how you guys did as well. And yeah, till the next day of trading to see what occurs.